holy day, happy holy day, true peace, peacemakers. I'm ready to get into it. True peace. Hope everyone is doing good on their holy day. All right, we're about to jump right into it. All right. Share the room real quick. Welcome to the World Temple, branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global chartered and incorporated temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Hope everyone is enjoying their holy day. We're going to make the best of it, that's for sure. First thing first, I want to give honors to our divine creator. Partner with the Allah, El Elo, whatever divine name you would like to reference the divine creator by. I want to give honors to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Honorable Marcus Garvey. I want to give honors to all of the leaders that came after the prophet and those who came before the prophet as well, because we honor all true and divine prophets. I want to give honors to everyone that'll be in participation with us here tonight, and hope you all enjoyed y'all holy day. True peace. All right, so let's get it started. All right. First things first. We're gonna jump into our divine supplication here. Get into the divine supplication and kick off our weekly readings as we do here every week. So y'all know how we do. Begin all prayers and thinking by using the all. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show thy divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us, true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name we carry on. True peace. So I'm going to jump into our 19 affirmations, as we do here every week, for those that are new and coming listening to our replays, or for those that are listening on YouTube, because now we're putting these sermons on YouTube. So let's jump into the 19 affirmations. What we accept as fact, the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim, as we call it, which you should be reading with you and your family on a daily basis. If not, you can join us here every Friday for Holy Day, and also newcomers gathering to participate in the affirmations. So let's jump right into it. We accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept this fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians and the Anunnaki or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need, first of all, a revolution of values and thoughts which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfire and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this war is fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth. That is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race, its biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race and racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. True peace, true peace. Didn't get a chance to see who else came in, but I see you there, Brother Jonathan, bring you up. All right. So let's jump into our divine constitution and bylaws. Welcome everyone that's here, and those that'll be coming back listening to the replays. Welcome. So y'all know how we do with our prayer, our Moorish prayer. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right, so I'm about to jump into the divine constitution and bylaws. So I just sent you an invite, Noble Jonathan, if you want to come up. Not sure who the other person is that came in and left real quick. For those that are listening to the replays, come back. Y'all want to stick around so I can see who that is that came into the room. That way I have a chance to bring you up if you want to come up on stage. But make sure you following us by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple, branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Sons Temple of America. So let's jump into the divine constitution. Was that you, Jonathan, that came up here? Some static. Okay, that's you. Let's fix your mic. Okay, there you go. Peace, peace, peace. All right, so let's get into this divine constitution. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government, and you must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live, and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Zabuwr, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and become industrious and become a part of and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet through the guidance of his Father God Allah. True peace, true peace. So we're going to jump into our weekly readings, which every week we open up with chapter 25 of the Holy Qur'an Circle 7. All right. So with that, let me pin the temple link to the top of the room. Still working on the store, so get together for us, so you guys can order from the store. All right. Well, let's jump to chapter 25 for our weekly readings. We're gonna start off with this week's holy day. All right, y'all. Chapter 25 called A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, and it reads, Ye of the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. So that's what we went in to death about last week. Pull some things out from the dismal crypts about our unity as our families, our marriages, and the things that are going on in the society around us today. So that's what we're gonna dive even further into that, as well as some things that's been happening, some notable things that's been happening across the world. So chapter 47, as we read every week, called Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa, and it reads, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amex, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery, due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, whom were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. True peace, true peace. So we're gonna be talking about somewhat of the great and dreadful day today. Recently, we've been getting into the book of Revelation, real heavy, called El's Holy Injiyl. So we're gonna be diving into some of the text from that perspective. All right. So let's get to the next chapter. Move on to chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophet. So we're gonna read chapter 48. Okay. So chapter 48 reads, the last prophet in these days is noble Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully and chartered incorporated as a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We as a clean and pure nation descendants from the inhabitants of Africa do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earthland, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. All right, y'all. So we're gonna jump into this week's weekly readings. So we just finished jumping into our weekly readings, and now we're gonna move into today's message for today. So yeah, let's get right into it. So there's been some heavy things that's been taking place this week, and it needs to be spoken on, of course. So we're gonna touch on it. So with that, y'all, welcome. Y'all can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So we have been touching on relationship, not just with our families, but also amongst us on a community-based level as a people, and the prejudices that we have amongst each other. And really going into some particulars that keep us divided amongst ourselves. And what really causes that is the lack of knowledge that we have because we can go into all the things that we want to touch on, but the root mainly comes from the lack of information. And some that do even have the proper information, they still continue to choose to go against the grain. They continue to choose to keep up the division between us. And that's solely because if they're divided within themselves, they're going to be divided amongst those that are in proper alignment externally. So when it comes to us developing self-sustainable, efficient communities, these are the things we run into. These issues always circumvent. It's always a 360. So tonight, I'll be digging a little further to it. All right, so let's jump right on in, shall we? True Peace, Brother Brian, about to bring you up. So we're gonna jump into the truth behind this issue. I just sent you an invite. You should be okay. Peace, peace, peace.
Peace, peace.
True peace. Islam, though.
Islam.
Happy holiday. All right. Y'all just keep a lookout for people that's coming in. Let me know if somebody come in the room so we can see if they need to be brought on stage or not.
Shakur should be coming on. I invited him. I invited a few people.
Okay. Bliss. Okay, so we going into the continuation of what we talked about last week as well as the week before last for Holy Day. Last week we talked about the state of our relationships and how the way we behave in our relationships today and premises for how we have our relationships today is really backwards when it comes to the true concepts of being in divine alignment or from a higher self So let's jump right into that. I was over here looking for the audio that we talked about earlier. So I was looking for the audio that me and you was talking about earlier, Brother Brian. So we really, bring it into tonight's message and perspective. But but we gonna like I say, we're gonna go in with the continuation of what we talked about last week and a week before that. Okay, because I think I found it. So let's jump right on in. Give me a second. All right, y'all. So as I said last week, and what we was touching on when it comes to our relationships, we are completely ass backwards. Excuse my French, but it is what it is. we're completely ass backwards. I was actually having the same conversation last night with my god sister, and we was talking about if one of these brothers on these podcasts were pretty much pandering to our women, and of course we had different perspectives on it, but they were still in divine alignment. It's just our people are forgetting the things that we had far as practice and customs in our traditions and tribes and ways of life and living versus what we have the premises for today's modern day way of life. So you have that conversation, traditional versus modern. Of course, we're doing things the modern way, but how long have spoons been around? Spoons have been around for millions of years. I mentioned that last week. So the ways of peace have been around for millions of years. Social behavior mannerisms are not new. These things are not new. So if we open ourselves up, like we say in our affirmations, our daily affirmations, we have to accept the fact about ourselves, be truthful with ourselves and about ourselves. So that requires us to check the energies, the spirits that we are allowing to channel through us. Because solely until you do things with inertia or you use your vocals, use your tongue and your mouth to speak, everything other than that is in your head for interpretation, calculation, etc. So we have solely got away from understanding the reality of things versus the superfluities and the artificial ways of doing things, because with modernism being the exception to the rule nowadays, we forget our spiritual customs that were proper based on us as a people, based on divine alignment. So I want to read some of the literature from the prophet about these things. The prophet says, history may be defined in a general way as the record of the life of mankind. It is the rise and progress of those famous people whose doings constitute the history of civilization. In this, it is proper and highest science. History presupposes the nations of the world advance beyond the natural or primitive state. And to these belong our great leader, Muhammad, directed by our Father God Allah. Respecting mankind outside of nations, there is much interesting and valuable knowledge supplied by various sciences. By the aid of these sciences, much is now known regarding mankind's customs, manners, languages, arts, and religions, which bring us back to our Father Allah and the Muslim religion. So for them, because this is the conversation we're going to get into tonight as well, other than just the relationship part and the internal battles that we're having as a people. But mainstream scientists, God has not been so-called confirmed to exist. But we're reading right here from the messages of the prophet that science has actually said the opposite. That subhanahu wa ta'ala, the divine creator, divine nature, is actually real. Divine intelligence is a real thing. So we go back and forth with people of that narrative because they see everything else other than the divine intelligence in operation. If science is able to find the intelligences that make up the mechanics of your body, your anatomy, then of course there are natural and divine intelligences that make up the total creation of things. Divine intelligence. There's a divine reality to things. So we're going to be going into detail about this tonight because we were left with marriage instructions from the prophet and many other things. And as we read last week, this is knowledge coming from our ancient scribes, our ancient ancestors, our ancient deities. So there's no need to try to reinvent the wheel with things that naturally work. So let's think about it like this. You have tribes all across the world that have been doing things that doesn't harm nature, that is naturally mutually symbiotic with nature. And then you have a scientist come around and say, well, no, we're not supposed to do that, we're supposed to do it this way, which actually harms nature. So which form of science is he using? Because, and which type of intellect or consciousness is that coming from? Is that coming from the higher self or the lower self, the animal consciousness or divine nature and its consciousness? Which today we have what's called the noosphere that surrounds the planet, the mental biosphere or the mental atmosphere or biosphere, whatever you want to call it, that surrounds our planet. So therefore there is a natural divine intelligence. So they call it the logos, we call it the nous. So understanding the framing, we as a people have naturally been hoodwinked. So today we can't even rely on our natural divine intelligence because we miss the message, we miss the knowledge. So people become so fanatical to the point that they're living their self in somebody else's book, even if it is the Bible, even if it is the Qur'an. They're living in somebody else's book. We're out of our minds as a people. If we're here to uplift fallen humanity has to have failed from something. What is that cause? What is that situation? We refer to it as the spell of Leviathan. The spell. The spell. If it's a spell, then that means it's some form of hypnosis that this reptilian frequency can initiate. And we know these things because of all the divine messages that came through the master teacher. Want to give honors to the master teacher. So let's jump right into this next piece of literature from the prophet. The prophet says one of the most difficult things in this world to get control of is the human tongue. Kipling never wrote anything truer than when he wrote that men may hold most any post if he'll only hold his tongue. Before you set your tongue to action, get it under control. A single tongue can do more harm in the world than a battalion of soldiers. For soldiers can kill but bodies, while the tongue can kill reputations and characters. Really, it is too bad that we have no laws to curb tongues from lying and scandalizing. No doubt you all have read the story of Lago, a character in one of Shakespeare's plays, when he powerfully pictured in the character of Lago the terrible consequences following the path of an evil tongue. Lago not only destroyed the reputation and pure character of Desdemona, but he finally, through Othello, killed her body. That's why I say compel your tongue to speak helpful messages or else keep it still. Make it a rule of your life to use your tongue for high purposes only. Resolve to speak of man or woman of no other way unless you speak of good qualities of that man or woman. No one ever gained happiness out of injuring the feelings or character of someone else. No one ever failed to get happiness by speaking well of other people. So learn as if you were to live forever. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Islam. So the prophet is saying we need to first thing first, not participate in gossip, backbiting, etc. Speak well of our people, even if they're out here causing harm. That has nothing to do with us. Allah be the judge. Islam. Shalom. So this is why I say we get caught into someone else's book, because the divine intelligence, the natural laws of nature will affirm justice. So we don't have to go around calling people out of their names and this, that, and the third. Even giving bad reports on what they did. Even that could be harmful to a certain extent. But it's also harmful if you don't inform the next person of those people ways. So you have to, have discernment. You have to have that discernment. But at the same time, the message is still clear. We are not here to shun people. So today, we live in a world where there's this gender world between male and woman. So we have adopted culturalisms and mannerisms that are not of our own, as we're seeing. We're not coming from the higher self when we talk about these relationships and how they matter. Because the first thing that comes up is this 50-50 conversation, this paying the bills conversation. And who forwards the bill? Well, if you're talking about intelligent people and highly reputable people, it doesn't matter who paid the bills. It doesn't matter what the agreement between that man and that woman is. It's none of your business. If that woman wants to work and stand on her own and have some form of independence in their interdependence and their dependence on each other, then so be it. We should be operating from 3 forms of penance, which is dependent, interdependent, and independent. Because the laws of nature say we need each other. We have to be in a state of communion. So that's proper alignment with nature. So you have the word dependent, which it's an old French word, which comes from the word pendant. So we have to have 3 forms of pendant, like a badge. Means it derives from something. It comes from the word pendere. So this word means pendere means to lean on, to hang on, to basically connect yourself with someone. You leaning on them. So you have 3 forms of that: independent, interdependent, dependent, and pendere. So technically, if we go according to the etymology from the word pendere, and you say D, which means to go against, that means going against. Dependent means going against, leaning on that person. That's where you get the word independent from. But interdependent, meaning we're not solely dependent on each other, one more than the other. We're interconnected. We accept this fact that we respect each other's cultures, their languages, their races, their backgrounds, etc., their feelings, their perspectives. Even if they feel as if in this modern day and economic time that they're supposed to just depend upon someone else taking care of them. Because this is the mentality that we are having. Because it's being made to seem as that our sisters didn't do nothing in the household, but had the man pay for everything. When we know by our ancient traditions, that was never the case. They always refer us back to the 60s and the 50s and the 20s, but not really go into depth where that mindset comes from. That actually comes from the European psychology. That doesn't come from an indigenous Moorish psychology. We attack the patriarchy so bad and say that this is a patriarchy, this is patriarchal, but then you still want the economic power given back over to the patriarch of the family. So if we had a matriarch and we come from matriarchal societies, then that means the power of the finance, the power of the commerce, which we understand as a people, was in the hands of the woman, especially a wise woman. So they have us twisted on these concepts, have us going back and forth about who should make the most in the house. Man are insecure because his woman makes more than him. No one cares about these things. I know, especially men in their right mind, don't care about those type of things. It's not a issue for them. So getting into the prejudices that keep us divided is these type of things today, such as, oh, that is a cult. Oh, that is, this type of this type of fanatical group. This is a gang, etc. We have these things, and in some instances those statements can be true based on proper discernment. At the same time, a lack of knowledge, of not knowing who you are, who your forefathers were, your divine mothers are, will have you pointing those same descriptions towards your own people, towards your own ancient culture, in a derogatory manner, in a derogatory way. So it's beyond just knowing what's in the book. It's about the experience. It's about getting involved with your community. It's about getting involved with the traditions of your ancient ancestors, their way of living. You do that by getting involved with a temple. You do that by getting involved with a gathering in the divine name. Now, not all of these spiritual gatherings are leading our people to the right path of sound wisdom, sound right knowledge. Because we understand that we're not leading our people to another god or another deity for you to worship a different deity. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source, the divine creator, the one. All of these gods are part of the all in all. All of them are a part of the all in all. And we went into that last week when we looked into Corinthians. That was Corinthians 15:28, especially when we was talking about the women. And not just them to be silent in the church because it's a patriarchy thing or a masculine thing. But these cultures and these ways of life, these mannerisms, these customs came from our ancient traditions as a people. We had ways of operating in a respective manner. Today is different. So that doesn't mean a woman was not leading the congregation. Doesn't mean a woman was not participating in the ministry, because how can she exercise the authority that she had if she wasn't talking? That wasn't the case, because she was there as one of the wise men and women. She was there as one of the judges with that crown of authority, with that power of authority. So it says right here, 1 Corinthians 15:28, when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son himself also be subject unto him, who put all things under him, that God may be all in all. So Subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all in all. Patemta, El Kalum, etc. The all. I'm gonna put this in the room chat so y'all can see it. The all. So if we going based on right knowledge, right wisdom, sound wisdom, which is also mentioned in the Bible, I'm gonna put that in the chat too as well, where the scriptures talk about sound wisdom, because it's mentioned in the scriptures as well. Proverbs 2:7. So that way y'all can have context of these words that we're talking about here. It says, he holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk, is blameless. He stores up sound wisdom, which is another translation, for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk in integrity. He grants a treasure of common sense to the honest. He is a shield to those who walk in integrity, who walk with integrity. King James Version of the Bible says he stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk uprightly. So they, as you can see, they try to change these definitions of things over time, because they don't want people to really know the key words, the key concepts that was utilized and where they get these concepts from, because they tie into us as a people. They tie into us as a people. They tie into your ancient and divine concepts and ways of life, your divine customs. Knowing these things are important. As you see, it provides you that divine shield, which they call the tetragrammaton or the macabre, other things like that, when it comes to our ancient way of living. That shield, that force field, or that torus as they call it in science. or zeal, your zeal. That is your aura field. That is your aura field. Not just your aura, but your aura field. Your shield is protected, is it got its defenses up. Is able to protect the light, the aura. So this is why I say we living in someone else's books, because we understood these things in ancient times. Today they call it the Kundalini. Ancient times we call it the Tekanu or Tantan or Tantian, either or. But we're not tapping in and getting in alignment with this ancient and divine wisdom. So therefore, everything that trickles down from that, the backbiting, the gossiping, the animal nature, the animal behaviors, nothing of those things have to do with coming from the higher self. Now, there is sometimes where you do have to be in your lower self, because you got to eat, you got to feed the body. But when you feed the body, you can either block off your higher self or suppress it, or you can enhance the higher self and it's functioning through you, through your lower self, through your physical body, through your animal body. So today we're out of divine alignment. We out of tune with our ancient and divine principles, our ancient and divine creed. So I wanted to go in today about this UFO thing that's been popping up as far as current events go. Anybody else got any other current events, y'all could chime in whenever you feel free. So the first thing I wanted to touch on though is how America has put on the news in America. I don't know where else has been broadcasting, but it's been put on the news. Well, I know in Canada, because that's close to where some of these unidentified flying objects have been shot down. And we know from the messages of the master teacher, as well as going back to the messenger and the prophet, that these things are not new occurrences, that these things are not nothing new. These are not new happenings. So we have a lot of confusion out there in the community, because a lot of our people that came into the doctrine of right knowledge and sound wisdom have missed the boat. They got too caught up in the facts, and not the truth. The prophet, as the master teacher said, peace be upon him, the truth is what shall set you free. A lot of that right knowledge information turned a lot of them into disagreeable, because for them it's more about being right, and not really grasping the overall message, the overall intention, the overall concepts that come with those things, or where their origins come from and where their origins stem from. This is why the master teacher did the things that he did and moved the way he moved. So we was pre-warned about UFOs replacing religion, about a fake alien invasion that they'll be causing to have if all else fails. So these are things that we as Moorish indigenous people, we were already prepared for it. We already knew about it. And today, 2023, we have these affirmations here confirming that UFOs don't exist, but so-called mainstream science says extraterrestrials don't exist. But you have the government shooting down UFOs. Now, who are these UFOs? Are they American UFOs? Which country UFOs? Because we know that this UFO phenomenon, extraterrestrial phenomenon, is not a new thing. Everybody's going to be talking about it, of course. They are talking about it, but from their perspective, and not the perspective of the true light, the divine truth. Even the prophet mentioned about having an apparatus. The prophet says, I have got airplanes, zeppelins, and apparatus. I'm going to take my good morals up in an apparatus on an incline until it's all over with. So the prophet was talking about the mothership. Elijah Muhammad talked about the mothership. So this UFO phenomenon is nothing new. You have Elijah in the Bible talking about angels taking him up to another dimension, etc. So these things are not new things. These things are not new topics, new conversations. Nothing new under the sun. So that even goes back to our mannerisms, our customs, and how we treat one another, because nothing is new under the sun. Other than divine intelligence that comes by way of the source. And we all have that ability to tap in. We all have that ability to be attuned, to tune in. This is why we're here with our small unit every week. Because the noise of the world today will have you all over the place. It'll have you all over the place. It says the prophet was referring to a destruction that's coming at the end of time. It says the prophet was, it says in the sayings, the prophet was ready to take up his good morals on an incline. What does that mean? On a mothership, until this destruction is over with. And then they will be returned to inherit the earth. The scripture said the meek will inherit the earth. Without even getting into that book, going outside the book, let's not get caught in the books, because that's the first thing people want to refer to when things like this happen. Outside of that, this is written on the walls of the pyramids. These stories, these things to come, they all been thrown in the conspiracy pot. We know conspiracy means to conspire. To conspire means to go against inspiration. Inspire means to breathe. That means to go against the holy breath. That means to go against the holy breath more. We're not here for conspiracies. Whether it's conspiracy against ourselves, the lies that people are telling themselves. This is not what we're here for. True peace, brother Prince. I see you down there. Click that gray block of words, brother, and join us. We here every Friday and every Sunday. We are a chartered and incorporated temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So we're here to help our people learn their ancient and divine creed and link themselves with the family of nations. And if you stick around long enough, you hear some insights about how to get involved with proclaiming your nationality and how simple it is without all the paperwork stuff that a lot of our people are pushing out here as indigenous peoples. But with that, as I was saying, we have the conspiracies. That means going against the natural higher self, that natural sound wisdom, that natural divine intelligence that is there naturally by nature, the higher frequencies, the positive forces of nature, however you want to look at it, etc. So if we dive into our temple one-on-ones, as we touched on last week, it states an angel is a thought of Allah. So can there be bad thoughts? Can there be bad angelic beings? Disagreeable angelic beings? Is there more Elohim than the seven, the septenary Elohims that make up Allah, the source? Because we know the frequency band of nature. We know the music scale that nature itself operates on, the harmonics. We've known this for a very long time as indigenous people. This is nothing new to us. So the one-on-ones, which is question 50, but before that, starting off at 46, which is a sacred number, a master number, it asks, what did Jesus say to make you free? That would make you free. Truth, as I just mentioned earlier. A lot of those people that got into the doctrine of the right knowledge, they turned into disagreeables because they wanted just the facts, the facts, the facts, the fact, the facts. Facts may be true for an individual, but the truth don't belong to nobody. Nobody possesses the truth. There's no ownership of the truth. Like people say, my truth, my truth, my truth. That's just my truth. That's your facts. Sorry to correct y'all, but those are your facts. Those facts belong to you as an individual. But we know one truth is truth changes. Things change. So that may be a fact according to you, but it may not be a fact according to this person. And then if we bring in some scientific method, then we get to the truth. Then we get to the theorem. Is it true or not? Not if it's a fact or not, but if it's the truth or not. So 46 asks, like I said, what did Jesus say that would make you free? Truth. The next question is, what is truth? Truth is art. What is art? Art is Allah. Art is Allah, the source. Can truth change? Truth cannot change or pass away. So truth is not going nowhere. It cannot change. The only truth is that things change. So the fact that things change, that's not going nowhere. Seasons, cycles. There's a time for everything. Nature, the law of growth. These things are not going anywhere. So, like I said, spoons been around for millions of years. Spoons ain't going nowhere. Forks and spoons ain't going nowhere. They've been around. We've been eating with utensils for a very long time. We've been writing with writing utensils for a very long time. Whether it was from the pen to the quill, for a very long time. So to follow up, it says, can truth change? No, I'm sorry, we went over that. Question 50 is, what other name do we give truth? Holy breath. The holy breath. So they're going against the truth. They're going against the sacred breath within themselves that they can connect to, that higher pranic energy that they can connect to if they slow down, relax, still, be still. Listen to the voice of your ancestors. Let them speak through you. The next question is, what have you to say about the holy breath? The answer is, all we can say is, it is great, it is good, it was, it is, and evermore to be. Amen. Amen. Be faithful. Be faithful. The master teacher said you had those that were faithful but not true, and you had those that were true but not faithful. We are the faithfully true. We are the true faithful. We are those Ammonites from Amanubi, from the messenger of the Ammonites, from the messenger to Amun, from those ancient messengers of Ammon, going all the way back. We are those unique ones of Aten or Atun, Atunre, Atunra. We are those unique ones because we're faithful and true and faithful. We're unique. We are a new body of people. We're here delivering the messages from a higher regard. We're touching on the things that our people fail to realize are the fundamental facts. And it doesn't change because you want to get likes on Instagram, because you want to get likes on YouTube, you want to get subscribers on your social media, or people to befriend you, and whatever other thought forms that are invading your aura field. It doesn't make it the facts. We know that the master teacher's work has been changed. We know a lot of the prophet's work has been changed. We know a lot of what Elijah Muhammad came and put into effect has changed. We know a lot of what the liberation movement, the Black Panthers, etc. have changed. Are those changes grounded in the truth? No, they're based on people's biases and personal facts, not a universal fact, which becomes the truth. This is why the women would sit back, symbolic of the divine forces of nature, and watch and judge what happens. Not because she needs to not talk in the church, not talk in the ministry. Nah, because you can't pay attention to what's really going on if you out here running your mouth, especially talking while somebody else is talking, in a sense of delivering a message. So I'm jumping into that because when it boils down to the things that are happening today on this planet and with us as a people, and the messages that are coming through the news media, our social media, etc., or the latest gossip and politics of your neighborhood, your hood, we're caught up in all the other voices, all the other frequencies, and we're being destroyed as we continue to go on for a lack of knowledge. So we read in El's Holy Injiyl last week about the seven churches tying into the seventh Elohim in the Temple 101 in today's time. So today, in today's time, 2023, you have all the different sects, the false messiahs, prophets, messengers, etc. Everybody feel themselves to be Paharu Masa Pa-Karas, return, etc. And it's not grounded and substantiated in right knowledge, right wisdom for the right understanding for us as a people to have these facts. So today we have the message. We have us as the unique ones here to leave record, put out a frequency of right knowledge and the truth. Because everybody still, same as when the master teacher came, feel as if they are the one. And as many of our leaders came and said, no one has a monopoly on how we do the right thing. Even the master teacher, he mentioned, as much as he came and led us to the direction we're headed to now as a people, and opening up a lot of the information that we have privy to now with other leaders such as Dr. Ben and Ivan Van Sertima, those type of lecturers and doctors that have came and dropped wisdom and raised the bar. Thomas Anderson, other leaders that, like I said 2 Holy Weeks ago, we failed to mention, especially with us talking about Marcus Garvey being the forerunner of the prophet, and other leaders that came through the liberation movement, brothers and sisters that have the knowledge of Clarence 13X about us being gods and goddesses. Till today, you have what's called the conscious community, and that being everywhere, there's no central grounded foundation. We accept this fact that we respect each person, their religion, their culture, their races, their background. That's the grounded fact. We accept this fact. But when we get to the truth of the matter, because the truth don't belong to nobody. We can say Jesus Christ. Okay, we agree with that fact. We're not denying that fact. But when it comes to the truth, we know it's Yahshua HaMashiach. If he was a Hebrew, Nazarite, a Nazarene. Just simple things such as that. Was there a brother named Yahshua in the past? Yeah, there were plenty of brothers named Yeshua, Isa, many of them. But the particular ones that they're talking about in that scripture, did it exist? Of course, if there's writings and work to analyze, you had other Jesuses that got mixed up with that Jesus. This is why the master teacher was saying a lot of the right knowledge things that he brought to the floor led people to become disagreeable, to lose touch with Pakaras, the anointingness. Many of people many of the people in the conscious community learn from the master teacher directly, or some of them were at the level where they was exchanging knowledge with the master teacher. But we know from the works of what the master teacher was doing, his works come from a cedar sacred council that a lot of these brothers and sisters was not a part of. The master teacher had access to the operations of the inner chambers that a lot of these brothers and sisters don't have. Even with our modern day chambers and our Americanized or Cantonized version of Islam, because that's put in the form of the logos. The master teacher came saying, "Well, okay, let's be new logical about this thing, and not just logical. Let's be new logical, born again." The ancient customs of the Essenic branch of Hebrews, the Nazarenes, that get their tribal customs and traditions from those ancient Wabi, those ancient priests of Amun, those messengers of Atun, of Pharaoh Aten, and further on back, going all the way back to the stars. Those that can communicate with people of this mother plane. So we have to make ourselves free. We do that by being truth seekers, being seekers of the truth. We ask, we seek, and we knock. This is why this platform is not just for me to talk. It's for y'all to chime in too as well and open your mics and ask questions. Even though I'm gonna deliver the message for the week, at the same time, this is for us to ask, seek, knock, and the doors of divine wisdom, sound right wisdom, will be open to you as a people. If someone has questions in the chat, you can leave your questions in the chat as well. I need y'all to also let me know, because I don't look at the screen all the time. I'm on the scriptures or the books when I'm giving these messages out as well. So if y'all could help out, chime in whenever somebody leaves a question in the chat, or just monitor the chat for me. But this is an open question and answer forum, as our ancient temples was. Even when we get into how we operate in our actual temples, our temple lodges, which we have planned for the future. But we are allowing space for those that are in tune with the right knowledge, the right wisdom, so they can come in and help with this divine message, this divine work that's here, that's being shown to us directly. So last week, like I said, we left off in the book of Revelations, household in Injiyl, which verse 12 in chapter 2. So chapter 2:13 reads, "I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelt." So right on point with like I said, we are that unique group of people. We're not martyrs in this day and time, though we have that chance of being martyred, persecuted for namesake, because we are aligning ourselves with the master teacher, The controversies that are on the master teacher, the conspiracies about the master teacher, the conspiracies about Noble Drew Ali, the conspiracies about Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, etc. All of that falls on us just by alignment with the message. Farrakhan, just by aligning with the message. They speak the fact. Everything might not be the absolute truth, but they speaking the facts. The facts that our people need to hear. The facts that bring us together. Now, as Farrakhan said before, in your independence, in your cause and work for the Most High, you don't need no one to stand by you. So in this small congregation, this is the people that gravitate to us here are the people that's here to do the divine work, not the people that's here to live off the work that we're doing. As we say every week, the Moorish Science Temple of America is a sovereign theocratic government. Theocratic. I mean, we have faith in the Most High. We have faith in the divine intelligence. We respect the divine laws of nature. So the translated version reads, "Surely I know about where you dwell, and it is where the seat of Samael, the physical evil one, reptilian Nakash, or Satan, is in Rome. And you held on to my name, Yahweh, and did not deny my faith. Al-Islam, the religion of Abraham, was taught by the Messiah Jesus, even in the days in which Antipas was a devout follower of the Messiah Jesus, who was killed at the command of King Herodotus II in Pergamos, was my faithful martyr. Antipas was killed for his belief in the teaching of the Messiah Jesus, while with you all at the place today known as Palestine, where he, Satan, stays." So we know that Nakash is in Palestine. Yet today they call them the Israelis, the Jews. And then you have the Antichrist, the Dajjal, al-Dajjal in Turkey. So you have those that go against the anointedness of us, the true Sephardim. Meaning, we are those true elect and elite of divine nature, which has nothing to do with their concepts, their mannerisms, and their customs of being a Zionist. Because that's what elitism is, being a Zionist. When you're elect, you have that anointedness on you. You feel it. You speak it. You vibrate in it. That don't mean you won't be out here protecting yourself. That don't mean you won't be out here defending yourself. Just because you're in tune with the ways and divine creed, ancient and divine creed of peace. Even Yahshua pulled out a sword when he needed to protect himself. Other than that, he was walking to and fro freely with no need for a weapon, because obviously he had to tell people to go get weapons. Because they was coming to hurt him. So we got to get our weapons, we got to train. Other than that, we practicing the laws and ways of peace. So today, moving in a non-violent manner and factor of things, you have your defenses at your hand. You have your Bible, you have your Qur'an, you have your Torah, you have your tablets, etc. And still your scimitar if you need, if you ever, if we ever so needed to defend ourselves. But we have to think bigger as a people in today's time if we're talking about inheriting a nation, if we're talking about having a nation as a people. No, you don't need to have the guns and have all these different weapons of mass destruction to protect yourself as a nation. There are weapons, spiritual technologies that have way more force, way more might, and way more power than those things. Though they can do a lot of destruction, and the laws of nature is we can't impede upon anyone will to use those things or not. But you have in the news today UFOs being shot down by the military.
Would I be able to add something?
Yeah, chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wanting to say that my father taught me a while back about Malchus, the servant, who got his ear cut off by Peter when the Romans were going to arrest Jesus. And like that's like a big story about how he like put the ear back on and like told them to like basically we're here for peace. You know what I mean? So like even if they had swords, and it's also believed that they possibly were ceremonial swords, participating within the way the translated occult back then was, and now we're in that saturation of it all, going back to what you were talking about, the conscious movement and whatnot. So I just want to throw that in there. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. That's right. Because that's why I say your sword today is your Torah, your tablets, your Quran, the language. Let's go outside the book. The language. Can you stand on your own merit? Because we're not here to get trapped in somebody's book. Only book we should be worried about being trapped in is the book of life. That's the records of the living, where your spirit, your soul, your energy, your divine essence continues on to live on. They know who you are. If you can make it in essence past 10,000 years from now and you be remembered, that's how you immortalize things. And that's just one way of doing so. So thank you for that, Noble, because that really brings it home. That's what's here in El's Holy Injiyl. As we continue to read through the scriptures, we'll find. So this next verse in chapter 2 says, "But I have against you something that you have there in Judea. I have a complaint about something in Judea, a nation of people, Jews who are holding on to the teaching of Balaam, son of Beor, an Armenian soothsayer, who taught Balak, son of Zippor, ruler of the Moabites, to cast the stumbling blocks, causing them to fall away in front of the real children of Israel, not the fake Jews of today who call themselves Israel, until they ate of things sacrificed to idols and fornicated. The children of Israel laws, stopped living under laws and became sinners or reformed Jews following the teachings of the Pharisees, the Talmud, which is the so-called Bible of Judaism. So Pharisees is another way of shortening up the word Pharaoh and saying the rulers, the leaders, the wealthy, the Zionists of that day and time. The Sadducees are the so-called righteous people of that day and time. The same way that the master teacher told them, take off the name Zodok off your name because you're not living according to what the righteousness really meant. You got caught up in the right knowledge, the right wisdom for the right understanding. You want to be right so bad that you're losing connection with having the anointedness, being in tune with the spiritual essence. Meaning we don't have to go and correct people when we know they wrong. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We understand that. If we came together about the things that we can agree on versus the things we don't agree on, we'll get a lot more done as a people. You got people trying to dissect Islam before they even hear about the universal message of peace. Before they hear about the universal message of Islam, they put us in a box, like I said earlier, without even doing the investigation, uncantedly. So the next verse reads, so you have also held with you living in Judea, pale Jews, Christians, Romans, Catholics, Greek Catholics, and Christian monks. All of these false religions are offshoots of Al-Islam that was started by men who wanted to deviate from the path of Yahweh and do their own thing. The teachings of the Nicolaitans, the followers of Nicholas, a convert to Christianity in Syria, Antioch, which do things that I hate. So this is talking about those that read the Bible, read the Bible, but didn't, or not the Bible, but the scriptures at that time, and went against the grain. They learned the sacred wisdom of peace, the sacred knowledge, the mannerisms, the customs of peace, but still went against the grain and created their own customs. So this is why Joshua told Paul, we're not teaching them. I didn't come for them. I came for the lost sheep of the house of Judah, of the house of Israel. So the next verse reads, repent you also, otherwise I, Melchizedek, will come fast as a messenger in human form, and I will and I will fight to kill them, Jews and Christians of Judea, by way of the sword of my mouth, with the truth of the two-edged sword. So the actual mistranslation reads, repent you also, otherwise I will come fast, and I will fight to kill them by way of the sword of my mouth. So this is a battle of right knowledge versus the wrong knowledge, the nous versus the logos, the truth versus the facts and falsehood. Because we're not here to be living based on biased opinions, momentary emotions, temporary emotions, versus the overall truth of things, the overall logic of things, the overall reasonings, the divine reasons, the divine rationale. So this goes back to what Brother Jonathan just added into, because we're talking about that two-edged, that double sword. You see how it came right up right when we spoke about it. So this is another example how we move on spirit here in this room, because we're just going through the scripture next verse for next verse, picking up where we left off last week. So this is why I say this is that example of moving in tune with the spirit, y'all. Being in tune and being in alignment with the spirit, just coming in and getting the message and participating in that frequency. We don't have to have all the loud noise and the controversial topics, because we're gonna touch on these things as we go through the messages. Now, if we want to create content as a congregation, like I said, this year is the year to step our game up. So if we want to reiterate some of the messages from our leaders and take them a step further, because as the master teacher had a great lecture before about, can we ask questions to our leaders that are not here anymore? If they're not here anymore, you're not able to reach them. So you have the leaders in this day and time that you can ask questions to, especially those that exude the true light and exude the divine knowledge that you need, that really connects us and ties us all into divine, that divine knowledge. that divine tree of life, that tree of knowledge, that tree of knowledge of good and evil as well. So this next verse reads, he who overcomes, surely I, Melchizedek, will give him the hidden manna, the bread of eternal life, in the Orion skies, to those who overcome the temptations, and will give him a white stone, symbolic of acceptance, on which is inscribed a new name, which is Muslim, one of peace, which no man knows except he who gets it, because only a real Muslim understands what it means to be a peacemaker and a son of Allah, also called El Elo, Anu, Yahweh, Theos, Elah, or God. This next section says the false prophetess Jezebel is threatened with grievous punishment because she seduced Theos' servants. So this is talking about that woman that is under the spell of Leviathan that we talked about last week. These are the temptations that you shall overcome, especially in this day and time. Women just freely naked on the internet all day, every day. You got your you got OnlyFans and other sites that I'm not gonna mention on here, but y'all know what I'm talking about. We're in a space where we're not exercising tantra as man, not the arts of the Kama Sutra like we talked about last week, but these sexual disciplines. You're having our brothers and sisters solely depend upon animalistic nature, and that's just that. Not getting in tune with the prana, the chi, the qui, the she, these elemental forces of nature that you have to look into. And the more you understand, you start to unfold the parapsychology of your psychology. Then you can step into understanding neurology and your new logical thinking, your new logical rationale that we are conveying here in the temple. But we're giving it all in presence, in the essence of what we talk about, in the essence of what we're teaching here through the temple. So this next verse reads, and write to the Elohim of the congregation of the Atra, symbolic of Hinduism, this is what the Messiah Jesus, adopted son of Theos, says. And it states, Messiah Jesus speaks, whose eyes are like flames of fire. The whites of his eyes were reddish, symbolic of the Messiah Jesus, possesses the divine wisdom and knowledge to raise the mentally and spiritually dead, and whose feet are as if they are from fine brass. The color of the Messiah Jesus' feet were like brass, which proves that the Messiah Jesus was definitely a Nubian, or more, a melanated man. The color of burnt brass is sardis, dark brown, yet reddish. This next verse goes and says, surely I know about your works and your faith and your love and your service and your patience, and that your last works are more than your first works. So this is saying that the work of those that are faithful, that have the love from the past, even to you today in these last days. The Most High, the divine intelligence, sees our work, but we have to protect it. The divine intelligence is not operating in the physical as a physical being. It's embodied within all of us. So we have to use that divine intelligence within us, that true light within us, which the dark comprehended not. We have to use that to protect ourselves, or else we give it over to the darkness, to the amber forces, the disagreeable forces, the forces of the lower self, the animalistic natured people who put their animal mind first and not their higher self, the holy breath, that divine essence first. your spirit before your body, which that takes us back to chapter 1 in the circle 7 Holy Quran. But in essence, this is what we're dealing with. So the next verse reads, and it's gonna be the last one that the last two I'm gonna leave us with after this one. I got one more. So this next verse reads, but I have against you complaints about a few things. That is surely you tolerate the woman Jezebel, the daughter of Ethabal of Tyre and Sidon, from the Canaanite tribe, and the wife of Ahab, son and successor to Omri, a king of Israel, who alleges that she is a prophetess. Yet she was a symbol of harlotry and lust of those days, in order to teach all the swanis, gurus, yogis, and mystics, and seduce my servants into committing fornication with free sex and pornography, and eating things sacrificed to idols. So, like I said today, same thing with your OnlyFans, etc., right? And the stuff that's going on today in our society. So this is why I say today, in these modern days, in these last days, we ass backwards as a people. When the prophet said he came to uplift us and save us from mental slavery, this is what he's talking about. Rise, Lazarus. And now you have the divine essence channeling through this particular temple, and you're hearing the messages of the sixth thunder directly. I know it because I have done a lot of things to affirm that that is the essence that embodies me and speak through me. I can only perform the divine works and y'all affirm it. So this last verse reads, and indeed I, the Messiah Jesus, gave her, Hindus of India, represented by Jezebel, enough time in order to repent, and she does not want to repent from her fornications. Saint Isa, known as Cleophas, went to India and taught them for 4 years. So Spirit say read this last one, because it's gonna confirm the points. Or read two more because it's gonna confirm the points of what we're talking about here and what's coming. And it reads, this is verse 22 of chapter 2. So you see the sacred numbers there. It says, this is it. I, the Messiah Jesus, will cast her into a bed, and those who commit fornication with her, strong hardships in the last days will befall them, who repent from their works. They must stop following all the gurus, swamis, yogis, and mystics. Stop following the mystics. Because they're not giving you the teachings from divine alignment, from the disciplines. They're not of the mystic order of the Most High. They just freelance mystics. They're not following the Sarat, the plain, that straight and narrow path to the divine Father, to the divine Mother, to the divine Creator. They're not giving you those disciplines. They're giving you disciplines, so-called disciplines, which are traditions of the lower self, the lust of the lower self, things that trap you in your body and not recognize and recollect that the spirit quickens the body. The spirit makes the body, not the body, the spirit. So you start off with essence first. These people run around with the chemistry thing talking about we 666 on the periodic table. No, we the 999 on the periodic table. We make up those gases, those essences, those hydrocarbonates. Hydro first, the essence first, then the gross matter. So this last verse reads that we're gonna stop with is, and our Messiah Jesus will kill her children with the death of plagues, earthquakes, fires, tornadoes, volcanic eruptions, AIDS, Ebola, the Neg fever, and all the congregations will know that I am that will know that surely I am the examiner of the kidneys, which is the seat of your emotions. The kidneys are a part of the spleen or navel seat, and the hearts, which is the seat of thoughts. And I will give every one of you, all these congregations, according to his deeds, because you will be judged by what you do. So, understanding that law of nature, the law of cause and effect. So these are the things that we're causing today with not getting into the knowledge, not really understanding what it is that we participated in as an ancient people, our ancient wisdoms, our ancient customs. So I'm gonna close us out with that and jump right into these holy instructions. But I'm gonna pin the school and the course to the school here in the chat. Okay. Well, I ain't see the messages, brother Brian, but we had 11 people come through. I ain't see all the people come in. Yeah, so y'all gotta next time just come off the mic and let me know there's other people in the room so that way I can be aware. But yeah, I wasn't aware people was coming in the room like that. We had 11 people come through today. So peace and blessings to everybody that came through, and much honors to y'all that are sticking around and getting the messages. So let's go over this Civics 101 Holy Instructions, and we're gonna dive on in. Because we have our own school system. We have to understand the power of what that means, and not just the school. We have the ability to really have our own so-called Scientologies and things like that. We are a science temple. So that requires us to have academies and elementaries, high schools, etc. Across the world. So we went over our civic education, which is the study of our theoretical, political, or practical aspects of us as commoners or citizens of our community, with its rights and its duties, and going into the civic law and the civic code, which we went into a little bit about our theocratic structure and the premises that we have, referring back to some of the scriptures, because we know in this day and time the Bible is law. The Bible is a book of law. It's not just stories, fables. These fables are meant to be used as a moral code, a civic code, and the laws that pertain to them. So we went over our civic virtues, which is our cultivation of habits, how we cultivate our customs, which is tuning into that divine spirit, that divine essence, as we talked about today. Getting in tune with your essence, getting in tune with your people that are exuding this information, that are in tune with these ways of life, that are trying to get more in tune with these ways of life, get more knowledge from this mental reservoir that's coming through us. I'm sorry, that we're attaching ourselves to. And those 7 frequency bands that I was mentioning earlier. So as we know, Friday is the holy day of rest. Oh, you who know, when the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God and celebrate the praises of God of ten and without stint, that ye may prosper. All temple services ought to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7, to the Circle 7, and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Noble Ali, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All citizens, all civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday holy day temple service. On Friday, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, true peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicants. All templars, adepts, and civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple sessions or services. The Sunday school temple service is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals, templars, and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the temple Sunday school gathering, and the teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-one questionnaire. And let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her five senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional bylaws by the Prophet Noble Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School and program. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaire and developing understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civics lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novites additions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members temple district file. The Sunday school temple service is a wonderful opportunity, to study the liturgy teaching of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service, and along with the basic temple literature and assignment. No templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend that Sunday temple service and meetings as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service. Both were called out for by the Prophet Noble Ali and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7 in part, all templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa and Moorish Science Temple of Asia and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous people. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must read the messages from their temple secretary and download or acquire the application for naturalization, which could also be found on our temple link that I had pinned up earlier in the room, holytemples.org. The Secretary of the Temple's jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust to the new prospective civilian of the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arrange for him or her to be consulted by the Royal Council of said temple or subordinate temple. The Royal Chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the Royal Council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the Royal Council's consultation at the newcomers gathering or Sunday school gathering on Sunday, the new Templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holy day, temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaim his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an called Egypt, the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa. The Moorish Prayer, Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, including the Temple 101 questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans, the Divine Constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, and our Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets through our Civics 101 course, which you have pinned to the top of the room, called the Global Interdependent School District. It's a school district. It's a school system, not just a school. And Sacred Halls of Learning, which we call New University, for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the Temple's Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian, Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. So it don't matter if we go all the way back ancient Egypt till today, in native tribes, etc., whatever, from the medicine man, whatever you want to call it. You had ministers, shamans, messengers, apostles, or rasulat from all forms of spiritual faith backgrounds of people. That operate as an intercessor, not a medium, but an intercessor. Because you don't need somebody to talk to the divine creator when you can do that through yourself. You have your own heart pumping in your body. We are spiritual intercessors. We're spiritual guides. Now we can guide you to where you need to go, but we're not here to be mediums for you to speak to God through us and through me. You don't need me for that. So let's get into the nationality procedure. So we know that we have all the rah-rah, the noise out there about paperwork, status change, and all these different things. And I don't need paperwork to do this and that. Or you need paperwork to do this, to get things done. And that's not the case. Every form of a nation has a nationality ceremony. Every nation has a nationality ceremony. So we're going to dive deep into the nationality thing weeks to come as we continue to go along, because we know nationhood comes from a nation of people, and what they call themselves make up the name. Today we are Americans because this name has been given to the continent by immigrants, not what we as the people call America today. The native people here called Algonquia or Turtle Island of America today, or Amexem today. So the proclamation of nationality procedure and pronunciation of one's nationality is to be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, temple peacemakers, and Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or templars will be ordained an El, Bey, or Day, and given his or her royal peerage title of King, Honorable, Lady, Noble, Nin, Naya, Prince, or Princess by a Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality procedure, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian templars and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act, document that can be found in Hers Revised Statutes, that gives the Moorish Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Drew Ali, the Prophet. And I am Moorish American, African, and or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith for Shahada and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or template's free national name should then be added to the temple's book of life as they enroll in our Civics 101 course. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister or any other Divine Minister, so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister who issued the application and card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and incorporated and chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming a global nucleus. So, as I was saying, you have America today. You have even the title of us being Moors today, but we are those ancient people of Mu. We are Mu, as you heard me read earlier in the book of Revelations. We are those Muslims, those ancient Muslims, those ancient ones of peace. So we are those Moors, as they would call us, from France, Moranos, and other derivatives of the word Moor or Moorish, which is also another way of saying Kedar, Ta-Nehisi, Black, etc. And it's various languages, translations, derivatives, and other forms. So you have the continent of Africa being called a country and divided up into multiple nations. But you have the Moroccan Empire that was around and is a derivative from the Idrisid Empire, as well as the Malian Empire, where you find that being referenced to us as a ethnic stock of people. Even Ta-Nehisi and Tamore, which is still, you have the word More or More in there. So you have that term going back to ancient times, coming from the ancient one. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into this literature, this closing. like I said, we'll go more into depth about the nationality and things like that weeks to come, and get into diving into the setting the record straight here.
Is
True peace,
you
Islam.
true piece, yeah. I just wanted to talk about the school system. You know, there's a big disconnect happening right now because of technology and people getting information online. And how I've been viewing it is people look at someone and they have information in their psyche, whatever, and they might look at someone as not having that same information, even though they might, but they don't know. You know, and that's the disconnect. It may be true or not true. You know, just like green screens or all this, you know, AI artwork going off, and me being homeschooled back in the day, you know, we still had to take classes and get, you know, certified by the local governance, you know, and I don't know if it's the same if you're sovereign or not, but after a while, when you start looking at the big picture, it becomes really a big hassle and overwhelming, and it takes away from the peace and the love of it. And so that's how I've been viewing this whole new university now that we have the cloud and we're with the cloud and we're communicating that, you know, it's powerful. And yeah, I look forward to more teachings and what you got with the school system, and the future of the youth is really at hand at our fingertips.
Yeah, that's right. So with the whole sovereignty thing, sovereignty means you're just a free, independent people, but that also means you're responsible for yourself. So if we want to have prestigious colleges like William and Mary's, then we have to develop that ourselves. And this is where these colleges actually got their concepts from, or these universities, especially the universities that was created when America was just forming. Those universities came from ancient Moorish colleges and Moorish universities, Cambridge and things like that. So we're just repeating the same thing, but actually creating a school district in a modern sense, which is our own jurisdiction as a people. So we have our own municipal jurisdictions locally as well as regionally and internationally and globally. So as we create the system, it'll be each individual's participation in it, clicking the link, joining, you know, getting started in the civics 101, and then pushing forward. And each thing that you do, each assignment that you do, you're standing on your own work. And it's so much technology out here to help us. It shouldn't really be hard to come up with essays and blogs, take a topic, you know, boom. You know, it's so many shortcuts to doing it with the technologies that we have access to. You got Chat GTP, etc. So it's you know, easy ways to create an essay, move on to the next assignment, and keep it moving. And we create teachers and administration and things like that as we continue along. I just actually recently published 2 books this past week. One called Nulogy and Ancient History, and another called What is Nulogy? And I'm working on the third component to it, the Beginner's Guide of Nulogy. So we're setting the precedence here by developing an actual profession, um, a sign, a scientific profession, a professional genre. I'm sorry, a scientific professional genre as a temple. So, you know, we're not just following an ism or schism or anything like that. These are things that have reputable, you know, reputable branches in science. So the fact that there's not much work in that branch and field of knowledge or study, that gives us the opportunity to be at the forefront when people look into it. So we create the boatload of work, especially as a professional organization and things of that nature. As a people, we come up with the works, we do the studies, we do the assignments. You know, we become the teachers, we become the professors of our own school system. So that's the beauty, and you have your sovereignty within your educational jurisdiction. Just like any other neighborhood, you go to that neighborhood, that school district is a jurisdiction. Sometimes you have to go to that jurisdiction of that school system. So just hope we understand it, and that's something y'all can reflect on, especially as you read the replays. I'm sorry, listen to the replays for those that come back in or listening from YouTube. We have the ability to have our own personal jurisdiction through our own global school district. So that way we expand the jurisdiction of the Moorish Science Temple of America globally, which is already there for us to do such, but we can keep expanding it in a physical manner by setting up temples globally, which are schools. So this is a great way for us to really make a physical presence as a people, as a global polity of people, and develop those schoolhouses, their houses, temple lodges. So it doesn't necessarily for us have to be in some fancy looking building, though the churches and the temples are because the the basilicas were actual mansions and castles and houses. They were big mansions, big castles. So we want to take that into recollection. But I'm gonna jump into the mandatory literature from the prophet, y'all, and I'm gonna close this out for the night. I want to give honors to everybody that came through, that visited us tonight, everybody that stuck around and got the whole meats and potatoes from tonight. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all are here with me, and much appreciation and blessings. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all holy day with me, the Grand Sheik, Dr. Lawiy, Zodok Shamuel. And like I said, we're gonna get into this nationality thing further along these coming weeks. So get into that school, click that link that's pinned up there at the top of the room, the Civics 101. I'm about to change it in a second. Go ahead and enroll if you haven't already enrolled in the school, and get started. Become active. I'm right here if you need me to grade papers, or you can message me through the school system. I'm right here, so get active. It's too easy to get the work done and create your own portfolio of work. That is for you to create your own portfolio of work to show you studied and approved. So when someone asks, how do you know you are more? Because I've done the work. I've done the research. I took my genealogy test or whatever, and I put that into essays and reports, and I done backgrounds, and I done my checking, and I wrote about it. I wrote the story out, and you create a legacy for yourself. This is for our people to stand on their own merit, our own nomocratic structure. So let's get into the messages that the prophet wanted to read to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. The prophet said, this is the instructions from the prophet. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. True peace, your divine prophet, Noble Ali. All right, y'all. So for those that don't have a temple home and need a temple home, you have one here with us. If you have been rogue and haven't have a place to call home, especially spiritually, and you see that we're delivering a message that connects and radiates with your soul, and we're doing our best here to make this message universal as possible. Even the ones that don't understand why we say we're giving the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was created for their salvation, because we're going back into our ancient indigenous creed, which is the great law of peace. If you look up the Great Law of Peace by the Iroquois, you'll see that, and you can go further back if you would like to. But the divine branch and olive branch that extends throughout the whole entire planet of indigenous people, we are all connected through this global chieftain system that has been established throughout the whole planet. You find pyramids all over the planet. There was a place where there was no place where you don't find Moors or indigenous people there in that particular space. So with that, y'all, let's jump into the prophet speaking to the nations. So the prophet says, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, if you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you by the prophet. All right, y'all. So I'm about to change the link at the top of the room. Like I said, y'all can go ahead and click that link, get involved, join the school system, and be here for Sunday. If you have any questions, that's what Sunday gathering is for. It's an open question and answer. So I can answer any questions coming from the school. So please be aware of that. I'll be here for the newcomers gathering, and that's, like I said, that's what this newcomers gathering is all about. All right, y'all. So I'm about to pin this link at the top of the room, and we're gonna get to the closing literature from the prophet. Hope I can get this done before my phone go whoop whamp on me. But let's get to it. The prophet says, we ought to read this in every temple meeting and go over this in every temple meeting and service. The prophet says, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part of protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Noble Ali. All right, y'all. So let's get into the last closing message. Like I said, we're going to jump into this nationality thing much more as we continue on the weeks to come. So you want to bring your pen, your pad, have it ready, especially for Sunday for newcomers. And this message is also to be proclaimed and mentioned in every temple service. This is mandatory from the Prophet Islam. The Prophet say, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of this earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation, as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. This is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Ali. All right, y'all. So y'all have the link, the Patreon link that's pinned up there at the top of the room. Y'all want to make a donation. For those that haven't joined the royal audience already, you can go ahead and join the royal audience through our Patreon link. So that way we can keep up with the official members in the temple. It's less than a coffee. And go through your nationality procedure, but you want to do that after you do your nationality procedure, so that way we know that you are an official member in the temple. Or you can still make a donation through the, if you would like. If not, you could also use Cash App or Bitcoin, either or. Just send me a message in the back channel and I'll get that information over to you. So we're gonna close it out here, y'all, unless y'all got some more questions or anything like that, any last contributions. I'm gonna go ahead and close us out with prayer, and we're gonna call it a night. Give y'all a second to come to the mic if y'all want to, but if not, like I said, I'm gonna go to the prayer, and then we're gonna take it home. All right, y'all. So y'all know I go 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Ali, y'all. Amen. True peace, y'all. True peace and wadu. Y'all have a blessed evening. Like I say, y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all here with me. Happy holiday, y'all. True peace. Wadu.